Hey everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Robert Kinsler. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Today, TJ, we sadly learned about the passing of Tina Turner, who, as we both know, the whole world knows, truly was the queen of rock and roll. I mean, she was a great singer, a great dancer, an author, an actress. I mean, she really conquered all mediums and, had an incredible career that spanned so many generations of music making, really. Matter of fact, and after I learned she passed away, like many people out there, we got to revisit her legacy a little bit. In the United Kingdom, Tina was the first artist to have a top 40 hit in 7 consecutive decades. That's crazy. She had a total of 35 UK top 40 hits, and they say she sold more than 100 million albums. So she's one of not only the top selling female artists, but one of the top selling artists, period. I mean, what a legacy and what a great, you know, great body of work she leaves is especially her music recordings.
It is a very impressive legacy, and it's also what I would refer to as a against all odds, beating the odds legacy, really. And we'll get into that here. Um, I'm going to give just a little bit more history as well. Of course, she began her career in the late 1950s when she joined musician Ike Turner's band, Kings of Rhythm, first as like an occasional appearance with the band, but very quickly rose to prominence as the lead singer and really the star attraction. Um, and as such, the group was renamed the Ike and Tina Turner Review. They became, at first, they were one of the premier touring soul acts in black venues on what was referred to at the time as the Chitlin Circuit. Things were very culturally still very segregated at this point. So you had your black venues, you had your white venues, still very segregated. But then the Rolling Stones invited the group to tour with them and open for them. First on their British tour in 1966, and then on an American tour in 1969. And so this exposed Ike and Tina Turner to a much larger audience, a much more diverse audience. More rock songs were added to their repertoire, including Creedence Clearwater Revival's "Proud Mary," which, of course, we all know, giant crossover hit for them. Unfortunately, of course, the relationship, as we all know now, we didn't know then, but as we all know now, was extremely abusive.
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, Ron Wood of the Rolling Stones, he has a book of his artwork where it features different portraits of different people that he's known throughout his life, and he tells stories about them. And he has a very chilling kind of story about a time when the Rolling Stones went to Ike Turner's house to do some work, and that the house was like, he described it as like being like this fortress with big mean bodyguards everywhere, locks on every door that were remote controlled by Ike Turner. And he said in the book, he said, I'm guessing that's why it took so long for Tina Turner to leave him, because she
Yeah.
probably couldn't get out. And commented that at times, even the Stones, while they were having a good time, they felt at times like a little leery about everything, like they might be like they were prisoners there with all the locks and everything that he was controlling as they walked in and out of places. Yeah, so scary. You
Yeah,
know?
very, very
Yeah.
terrifying. Yeah, and
So
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's I hadn't heard that before. I knew that the Stones were big fans of her, but I hadn't realized that. So thanks for filling me in as well as everyone out there too,
Oh yeah,
TJ.
yeah. So of course there's a film about her life, and she of course left him in the mid to late 70s, tried to rebuild her career, and this is where it becomes kind of defying the odds. Because
Yeah,
at first
definitely.
she was, uh, her career didn't have a lot of direction, and she was, doing different review shows. And then in 1979, she hooked up with Olivia Newton-John's manager, Roger Davies, and this led to into the 80s And like you're talking about, this is where she had this success that really overshadowed everything she'd done with Ike Turner in the
Mhm.
80s. And this is where she became a global star and had these huge hits, What's Love
Exactly.
Got to Do with It? And I'm sure we all remember when those videos first played on MTV,
Right.
you um, Private Dancer, and then of course music from the Mad Max film, We Don't Need Another
Right.
Hero. I have to really, this is the part where like I know both of us really are impressed, you and I, because the music industry has been very youth obsessed, but
Exactly.
that youth obsession has only gotten, I'll use the word worse as time has
Mhm.
gone on. In her 40s, she's getting MTV play. She's becoming a global superstar, crossover superstar.
Right.
Forget soul R&B. And not, and I'm a big R&B fan. I don't want to make that come off the wrong way, but forget where she started. She's now this huge crossover artist. Rock, pop, blues, soul, R&B, it's all there. It's all part of what she's
Exactly.
about.
Yeah.
And she's this huge crossover artist. And at a time, I say, well, I'm sure there were some people in their 40s who got on MTV. Yeah, but not many black artists were getting on
Yeah.
MTV at this point. It was still a
I
very
think,
segregated thing at that point.
yeah, I think TJ, as I recall from all my reading today, wasn't she not only the first black artist, but the first woman on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine or something like that? And somebody out there may correct us for that, but she definitely broke so many barriers. And it's not like she like dumbed down her music, dumbed down her approach. I mean, she was this amazing force of nature. She didn't have to compromise, and she, accomplished, like you're saying, to be in her mid 40s to late 40s and do what she did. Amazing. I mean, she sounded great. She looked great. She, you knew it was her sound immediately, and how she connected it connected with audiences. I told you a little bit, we were talking off screen, and I was watching some historical videos of her, and I think there was one around 2000. So she would have been around 50 or 51 years of age. She was in Europe in this huge crowd singing, and every single person, and this before cell phones, obviously, everyone's singing along, and people were euphoric in their enthusiasm for who they were seeing on stage. And this is, like I said, for an artist that was 50 years of age, you know, that had only really come up probably for all these concert goers to really know she was over the last few years. What an achievement, and her music is a great legacy. These are some great recordings that she made.
Yeah. I have to wonder, I don't know if anybody in today's current musical culture could have that kind of success after 40 years. And then she continued to tour in her 50s and her 60s and even her 70s.
Right.
Continued to do high energy shows. It's hard to think of too many people that are doing that. There's Mick Jagger, you know,
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen, who
Yeah. They're the
continue to
two
be
that come
very
to
high
mind.
energy, very physical in their performances, you know, doing things that you're only used to seeing, people in their 20s do.
Right.
So
True.
it's a real inspiration.
Yeah.
And it should be an
Yeah.
inspiration to people like ourselves who are part of the boomer generation, who can remember her in her Ike and Tina Turner days,
Right.
who can remember those days. But yeah, I don't know if that could happen in today's, youth obsessed music culture. It's always been youth obsessed, but now more so than ever. I don't know if that could happen.
Yeah.
So, I would of course like to see it happen again, but I'm not sure. It's pretty rare at this
Yeah.
point anymore.
Very rare.
That could happen,
Yeah.
I think.
And
But
I think we talked about too. I mean, just on social media today when they announced her passing. I mean, just the diversity and
oh
the
yeah,
number of artists that had tributes, and they were very heartfelt. They were not these kind of mechanical, like, oh, I better do something because my Twitter feed.
yeah,
These were people that had genuine stories about maybe they knew her just briefly or but just the strong impact
yeah.
she had on those people. I mean, I remember John Oates, Bryan Adams. I mean,
Mick
Mick
Jagger.
Jagger and Ronnie Wood, I know saw, but even a lot of DJs, but one thing I wanted to highlight is some of the people out there probably our age will remember Martha Quinn, who was one of the VJs on MTV back in the early days. And I'll just read it. It's very brief. She said, Tina's heart When we spoke at MTV, I raved about her private dancer dress. A few weeks later, a package arrived at the studio. As I tore it open, I saw the red lace peeking out. She sent me the dress. I wore it at a Video Music Awards, and it is now at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So you see all these great stories kind of showing how she connected with not just other musicians, but also people in the industry and people that got to know her. And I found that really moving, just, going through and seeing all the memories from so many great artists that we admire, but, they really put her at a high plateau.
Yeah, a lot of great stories out there. One thing that as I was thinking about all this was that she was a two-time inductee in the Rock Hall of Fame.
Right.
First time in 91 with Ike Turner. And then as a solo artist in 2021, so much success in the 80s, and yet in the 90s, first it's with Ike Turner, and she doesn't get anything until 2021, till decades later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying Ike Turner isn't talented. He obviously was. He did make some contributions to popular music and rock and roll and soul and R&B. His contributions will be forever shadowed by
Yeah.
his abusive nature, his unacceptable behavior. But I kind of have to wonder, though, without Tina Turner there in the group, would Ike Turner have done anything, or would he have been afforded the opportunity to do anything that would have gotten him a nomination in the Rock Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think that it was her talents that obviously that
she was explosive.
Yeah.
In the 60s and 70s. Yeah, she was explosive. Yeah. I oftentimes, looking back on those performances back at that time, I would compare her to, like, say, James Brown.
Right. I think that's a good comparison.
Just that level of insane
power,
energy.
Yeah, exactly. And she had that energy, but she was also a great singer. I mean, she had this kind of like this gravelly voice, but I mean, it was easy on the ears, and it was dynamic and emotional, soulful, all the things, so many of the accolades you hear about, like every singer that comes along, I get hundreds and hundreds of press releases a week. Oh, highly anticipated release from so and so. And then I listen to many of them and nothing stands out. She sings a couple notes and you're just blown away. Even all these many decades later, the power and the fire of her voice is not quelled. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, very, like you said, very soul, but also very gravelly blues.
Mm-hmm.
And very rock, her voice.
Right. Rock too. It's
very rock.
Everything, all that, like you're saying, rock soul. I mean, you're hearing everything there, and boy, does she deliver, whether it's on a ballad or some fiery rock and soul piece. I mean, she's coming through. What we can appreciate, like we've said over the years when we've lost some of these musical greats that have had such a profound impact, is at least we have the music. What you can do. Like I saw a lot of people today, they were just even posting, images of what maybe a movie they were seeing that she starred in, or a favorite album from her. Maybe it was her greatest hits, but it's just a way to connect. And then you double down on your appreciation of someone who was really special. And, we could be thankful that we were here to listen to her.
Yeah. We didn't even mention her performance in Tommy.
That's right. That was like 76 with the Who. That's right.
Her performance in Tommy. Yes, the Acid Queen. I mean, that was killer.
Yeah. She
yeah.
was an artist of many talents. Let's be honest. She could do it all.
Yeah. But anyways, though, everybody just share your thoughts, memories, appreciations, favorite songs, favorite performances. And the nice thing about about the internet age is now we have YouTube, and you can find a lot of performances that otherwise you wouldn't get to see ever again. So those are out there too. As always, with all of these great performers, those performances are out there. But everybody, share your thoughts, any memories you want to share, any words. We'll look forward to checking that out. And we just want to give our thoughts and our prayers to her family, and just say Thank you for the music. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. You all take care. We hope you all stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.